Barbara Ehart had an interesting bill here regarding sexual, not sexual education per se, but anytime that there is material that deals with sexuality or some sort of, so I mean, I don't know how you want to put it here, but there was a debate where she had said that she'd been trying to get this curriculum out here. And I'm sorry, guys, did I upload the wrong video here? Oh no, here it is down here. Yeah. Let's play a little bit of Barbara Ehart on this presentation on this sexual education stuff.
For us is a piece of legislation that some of those who've been here for a little while will recognize, and others it may be a little bit new. Make no mistake, this is about sexuality in our schools, and it's a sexuality opt-in. It is a parental rights bill. It returns the control to literally the parents on a subject matter that, as I said, in 2019 and 2021, we would see coming before our schools on such an increased basis that we wouldn't be able to keep up for Idaho, and that is what we have found is happening. Let me just tell you a couple other things. This is about consent, not content. I want to be very clear. This does not prevent content from being taught. It's about the consent of the parent. Very different. In a hearing, assuming that I would get that, I will explain to you how our own statutes really define those rights as a parent and why this is important for us to be able to continue to make sure those rights, as defined in our state statutes, are enforced. The opt-out that most districts currently have leaves the responsibility with the student, meaning to make sure they take whatever information home and also bring it back. The opt-in clearly leaves that responsibility with the adults where it should be. And again, it is ultimately about a parental rights, parental involvement, transparency, and responsibility. So let me quickly take you through, and I'll try not to overdo it, but let me take you through the legislation. We add a definition for human sexuality. It was a point that had come up a couple years ago, so we add that definition. Line 25, section 331611(1), we do not touch. This is very important because the public out there is going to tell you differently. We do not touch our current sex education. We leave it, and I'm fine to do that because under our statutes, I'm actually fine with our sex education, particularly because we talk about the physiology and anatomy, or at least that which we should be doing. So this doesn't touch that. We leave that. Line 33(2), it basically explains that prior to any child receiving any education in sexuality, as human sexuality is defined, that they must have written permission from the parent. Now, the written permission really is that affirmation, that affirmative yes that I want, which really is a parent's right, that I want my child to participate in that. The teacher would then be
Almond,
required.
I don't know how familiar you are with the rest of this entire bill here, but this is, but I mean, she made the point. This is not about touching sexual education. It's about opting your child into any discussions on human sexuality that may happen in other classes. Mm-hmm. And for me, I think like outside of sexual education, where you have strict curriculum that you're dealing with, is school the place to be talking about human sexuality anyway?
Well, I mean, it depends on where you draw the line. I know the leftists, the Democrats are going to start saying, well, what about this or what about that? If you're going to read the Bible in class, what about where it mentions things like that? Or if you're reading about some history or piece of literature where, somebody's having an affair or something, things like that. But then on the other side, it's the classic Mott and Bailey argument where you got things where they're discussing transgenderism and in math class, which apparently it happens. So, I mean, switching it to opt-in, it obviously makes it a little more cumbersome, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It helps parents actually know what's being discussed in their child's classrooms.
And look, I mean, this is public education. And if we're going to have, this is where the government has all the strings, right? All the strings. The folks out there in homeschool land and private school land who say we don't want to have anything to do with the government because we don't want any of their strings. Well, if you're going to put kids into public school and we have a healthy legislature like we do right now, these are the strings that are going to be attached, and you're going to have to get through it. There was a representative church, the Democrat, did challenge Ehart on that very issue with the Bible, but we've run out of time here to get into all that.